Hi everyone and welcome to the Language Research and Innovation Competition 2023. My name is Evelyn Philip and today I'll be presenting on the use of interactive mobile teaching methodology with Immersive VR 360 and Edpuzzle in the ESL reading classroom. So this study will be divided into 9 categories, which are the background of the study, the objectives, the practicality, the novelty, the impacts, the contribution, achievement, innovation, and lastly, creative and style. So for the background of the study, this paper explores the use of interactive mobile teaching methodology with Immersive VR 360 and Edpuzzle in the ESL reading classroom. This study is conducted by identifying the differences between the before and after of the intervention, which is the immersive VR 360 and 8 puzzle when applied in the ESL reading classroom. And based on the pilot study conducted, it was found out that most of the students were motivated and improved in their academic performance in the ESL reading classroom when immersive VR 360 and 8 puzzle were utilized in the classroom. Next, we have the objectives of the study. There are 3 objectives. Firstly, is to identify the effectiveness of the interactive mobile teaching methodology with immersive VR 360 and 8 puzzle in the ESL reading classroom. Secondly, the objective is to determine the improvisation of Malaysian ESL students' English language proficiency through the use of interactive mobile teaching methodology with immersive VR 360 and 8 puzzle in the ESL reading classroom. And lastly is to determine Malaysian ESL students' academic performance in the ESL reading classroom through the use of interactive mobile teaching methodology with immersive VR 360 and 8 puzzle. So the practicality of this study is that it would help to improve Malaysian ESL students' size of vocabulary with the use of immersive visual and caption via immersive VR 360, which would motivate students to learn the English language in the ESL reading classroom. And it is also help to improve Malaysian ESL students' academic performance in the immersive ESL reading classroom with the use of immersive VR 360 and 8 puzzle by utilizing a teaching and learning framework known as the COP Experiential Learning Framework 1984, which would enable students to experience the lesson of the day via immersive VR 360 and 8 puzzle that would help them to better comprehend the lesson of the day and perform well in the ESL reading classroom. And lastly, for the practicality part, it would also act as a tool that would assist educators when they teach the skill of reading, as this teaching method is still novice in the education industry, especially in the context of Malaysia, which would help improve Malaysian ESL students' academic performance in the skill of reading. And the novelty of this study is that this teaching and learning method is a novel teaching and learning method, especially among tertiary level ESL students in the context of the Malaysian education system, and therefore not many educators have opted to use this teaching and learning methodology in order to enhance ESL students' learning experience in the field of the English language. So the impact of this study is that it would help boost Malaysian ESS students' language proficiency as through the use of intonation and pronunciation of the narrator in the video, students will be able to learn the language and be proficient in the language. Secondly, it would also boost Malaysian students' academic performance in the ESL reading classroom because once they are proficient in the language, this would then boost their academic achievement when questions related to reading skills are being asked to students. And thirdly, it helps enhance students' interest when learning in the ESL reading classroom because through the use of interactive teaching methodology, through the use of VR 360 and 8 puzzle, it would boost their students' interest in learning in the ESL classroom, and thus, when this happened, it would also boost their academic performance in the ESL reading classroom. And also, it would also help them to enlarge their vocabulary knowledge through the use of interactive mobile teaching methodology with Immersive VR 360 and Edpuzzle, as students can learn new words as narrated in the video through the caption that they will be seeing in the video in the Immersive 360 video. So the contribution of this study is that it would help educators around the world to utilize this teaching and learning method in order to enhance ESL students' English language proficiency and their academic performance in the ESL reading classroom. It would also help students to be more interested and have an increased level of attendance in the ESL classroom when this teaching and learning method is employed in the ESL reading classroom. It would also help future researchers to use this teaching and learning method as an example for future advancement in the education industry. And lastly, it would help the nation in building graduates who are proficient in the English language as well as graduates who are proficient academically in the English language. As for the achievement, firstly, it would help students to increase in their attendance in the ESL reading classroom. This is because through the use of interactive teaching and learning method, it would allow students to be more interested in learning, and thus this would increase students' attendance in the ESL classroom. Secondly, it would also help improve ESL students' size of vocabulary knowledge as they would be able to learn new words and improve their vocabulary knowledge through the immersive 3 VR 360 video that is being shown to them. And thirdly, they would also be more proficient in the English language through the use of by listening to the proper intonation and pronunciation that was spoken by the narrator. And lastly, it would also help students to get an excellent result academically in the ESL reading classroom as student will be interested in learning, and when student is interested in learning they will be motivated to learn, and this then would improve their academic performance in the English reading classroom. As for the innovation, the output of this teaching and learning method is to utilize the use of teaching and learning framework known as the COP Experiential Teaching and Learning Framework 1984 that will be used as the base for the interactive mobile teaching methodology, where the use of Immersive VR 360 and Edpuzzle will be used in order to create a seamless interactive teaching and learning environment that will not only help students to be interested in learning but also help them to be academically proficient in the skill of reading in the ESL classroom. And this is the research framework. So basically, the research framework is based on two things, which is the immersive VR 360 and 8 puzzle, and it's divided into two modes, which is the asynchronous teaching and learning method, where learning is conducted beyond the classroom in between groups of students or learning individually at their own pace, like doing a revision of the subject learned. And this is based on Lee Vygotsky constructivist learning theory, where the learning is more student-centered learning, it's peer-to-peer interaction, and students construct knowledge based on what they have learned so far in the class. And as for the second mode, it is synchronous teaching and learning method, where learning is conducted simultaneously at real time, and students are required to attend the class and participate in the class between groups, pairs, or individual. And this is based on the Jean Piaget cognitive learning theory, 1936, where students are required to participate in a problem-solving activities in real time in the classroom. And the base of this research framework is the COP experiential learning theory, where it's divided into four. The first one is active experimentation, where they try out what they have learned, such as trying out the immersive VR 360 and 8 puzzle. The second thing is concrete experience, where they have the actual experience, such as experiencing the immersive VR 360 and 8 puzzle. For example, immersing themselves in the story of the Little Red Riding Hood through the VR 360 display. And thirdly is the reflective observation, where they reflect the experience, such as reflecting their experience of learning and reading the story of Little Red Riding Hood in VR 360 and Edpuzzle, and then they give their feedback. And finally is the abstract conceptualization, where they learn from their own experience, such as learning new vocabulary as well as pronunciation and intonation of the words and being able to comprehend the text in the reading classroom. So basically, this is the research framework that can be seen from this study. Lastly is the creative and style. So the creativity and style of teaching and learning using this interactive mobile teaching methodology will be divided into two categories, which are synchronous and asynchronous teaching and learning methodology. And in the synchronous teaching methodology, students will be asked to attend the class simultaneously in real time and perform tasks in groups, pair or individual at the given time that have been set up by the lecturer. Meanwhile, for the asynchronous teaching methodology, students will be given extra tasks in which they can opt to study on their own or in their own study groups to attempt the task or do revision of the study that they have learned so far. So this is the QR code which you can scan on the YouTube VR 360 and Edpuzzle that I have pasted here. It's based on a reading story, Little Red Riding Hood, and I'm integrating both YouTube VR 360 and Edpuzzle together in order to give that enhanced experience towards ESL students in answering reading skill, reading comprehension questions and answering them, and also I'm giving them the chance to answer them and also have the experience of learning using virtual reality 360. So that is all from me. Thank you.